Some palaces of Rana period. Many grand palaces were built by Rana rulers who ruled Nepal from 1903 to 2007 Bikram Sambat. At that time, the grand palaces of the Rana era were called Seto Hati or White Elephants. These palaces stood in the center of vast areas which the Rana rulers used to show their dominance over the common people and to please their British friend and Rana friend. Architect Dr. Ranasur Bista and Jogveer Stapit were the builders of the beautiful palace of that time. After this, the founder of European-style artistic palace were Chief Engineer Kumar Narsingh Rana and Kishore Narsingh Rana. After the fall of Rana regime in 2007 Bikram Sambat, some palaces were converted into government offices or buildings. Some other palaces were demolished by the owners and rebuilt into libraries, museums, hotels and heritage complexes. The earthquake of the year 1990 Bikram Sambat and various calamities caused some palaces of the Rana period to be dimmed so that they never stood up, while the earthquake of 2072 Bikram Sambat also helped turn some of the palaces of the Rana period into ruins. Fohara Durbar or Fountain Palace. Fohara Durbar was constructed for Bhim Shamsher in 1895. A series of fountains framed the romantic garden, and inside the building was a crystal fountain scented with rose water. The many fountains provided the building with its name, the Fountain Palace or Fohara Durbar. It was used by Bhim Shamsher as a cinema hall and for cultural programs. Around 1954 to 1955 Bikram Sambat, Bhim Shamsher asked the architect Jogveer Stapit to build Fohara Palace. After this palace was built, he gave it to his son Pratap Shamsher. But his younger queen, Top Kumari Devi, did not like this. Bhim Shamsher built another even more magnificent Fohara Palace near the same palace for the younger queen. Artistic fountains were built in that palace. Also, there was a white pond and fountains in the middle of the compound. After Bhim Shamsher's death in 1959, the palace built by Bhim Shamsher for the younger queen also came under the name of his son Pratap Shamsher. Later, King Mahendra forcibly demolished it and joined it along with Narayanhiti without compensation. After 2007 Bikram Sambat, movies were shown in a big hall on the ground floor of this palace under the name of Prava Cinema Hall, but the cinema did not give much encouraging result and suffered a loss. After this palace was demolished, its old bricks were used in the construction of Narayanhiti Palace. Babar Mahal. Babar Mahal Palace was originally a part of Thapathali Palace. Babar Mahal is built as a copy of Buckingham Palace in London. In the late 1960s, Dharma Shamsher built it for his son Babar Shamsher Rana. The interior decoration of the palace, which is located within 7 hectares of land, is influenced by the British style. After the 1990 Bikram Sambat earthquake, in 1991, this palace was renovated where the road department office is now. Within the land of this palace, there are government offices such as Auditor General's office, building department, etc., and some areas of the palace area are owned by Babar Shamsher's descendants. Bagh Durbar. Bagh Durbar is a Thapa palace located in Kathmandu. Built on the west side of Dharara, the palace has various gardens, buildings and temples. The palace, which was the residence of Sanukaji Amar Singh Thapa and Vimsen Thapa, was taken over by Saha dynasty and the government of Nepal. Vimsen Thapa built a palace on the same place as the old palace built by Amar Singh Thapa. After the death of Vimsen Thapa, Matwar Singh Thapa returned the property, which was nationalized, and kept a tiger or Bagh in that palace. As a result, the name of this palace became Bagh Durbar. After the assassination of Matwar Singh Thapa, it became the palace of the Prince of Saha rulers. Later, according to some people, it is also said that Bagh Durbar was named after the garden. The Ranas, who came after the fall of the Thapas, did not want to accept the name of Bagh Durbar, which existed under the Thapas, so it was called Bagh Durbar. After repairing the building that was partially damaged in the earthquake of 1990, Juddha Shamsher took it under his control and gave it to his son Hari Shamsher. This palace was damaged in the earthquake of 2072 Bikram Sambat, and some of the operating office under the Kathmandu metropolitan city has been moved elsewhere. Harihar Bhawan. This palace was built by Chandra Shamsher in 1982 Bikram Sambat for his second son, Singha Shamsher. Singha Shamsher stayed in Harihar Bhawan until 2006 Bikram Sambat. In 2006, when Singha Shamsher became the British ambassador, he went to the UK. In 2010 Bikram Sambat, Singha Shamsher was recalled from the embassy. However, he decided to stay in Britain. After Singha Shamsher decided to stay in Britain, the Nepalese government nationalized Singha Shamsher's entire property, including Harihar Bhawan. This palace, which came under the government ownership in 2023 Bikram Sambat, housed the Civil Library, the Department of Agriculture, the National Library, and the National Human Rights Commission. A part of this palace was damaged in the earthquake of 2072 Bikram Sambat. The offices here were vacated after a red sticker was put on Harihar Bhawan saying it was unsafe. Kesar Mahal. To the west of Narayanhiti Palace was the small house of Bhajit Shamsher, the son of Dher Shamsher and the younger brother of Veer Shamsher. Chandra Shamsher bought it and built a palace for his son Kesar Shamsher in 1951 Bikram Sambat. The garden inside this palace area was very attractive compared to other palaces in Kathmandu. Hence, it was called Garden of Dreams. After the death of Kesar Shamsher in 2021 Bikram Sambat, his wife Krishna Devi Rana and his sons Keshu Shamsher and Lokbhakta Shamsher Rana agreed to hand it over to the government of Nepal. They handed it over to the government of Nepal on 27 Bhadra 2025 Bikram Sambat during a grand ceremony. In addition to operating the library under the name Kesar Library from 1st July 2026, the Ministry of Education was also moved to this palace. Lal Durbar or Red Palace. In 1946 Bikram Sambat, Veer Shamsher built Lal Durbar for his younger queen Top Kumari Devi. In 1957 Bikram Sambat, this palace came in the name of his fourth son, Tej Shamsher. In 1990 Bikram Sambat, Tej Shamsher was chased away by Juddha Shamsher. After the end of Rana rule in 2007 Bikram Sambat, Tej Shamsher's son claimed this palace and got it back. Currently, there is a Hotel Yak and Yeti in this palace. Hotel Yak and Yeti was established on 11 October 2034 Bikram Sambat. Laxmi Nivas. In 1961 Bikram Sambat, Chandra Shamsher built this palace for his eldest son Mohan Shamsher. Kumar Narsingh Rana and Kishore Narsingh Rana, the first engineers of Nepal, were entrusted to build it. As long as Chandra Shamsher was the Prime Minister, Mohan Shamsher stayed in Singha Durbar. But after his father's death, he started living in Laxmi Nivas Durbar. From year 1985 to year 2002 Bikram Sambat, he stayed in this palace until he became the Prime Minister and then moved to Singha Durbar. Even though democracy came, Mohan Shamsher, who did not want to leave Singha Durbar, was forcibly removed from the Singha Durbar by the Nepalese government. After returning from Singha Durbar, Mohan Shamsher, who lived in this palace for some time, left the country and went to live in Bangalore. The government made this palace an army office for Bhairavnath Gun. Seto Durbar or White Palace. In 1949 Bikram Sambat, Veer Shamsher built Seto Durbar or White Palace for his son Gehendra Shamsher. Scientist Gehendra Shamsher also established a laboratory in this ground palace. It is said that Gehendra Shamsher also produced electricity required for Jaisal from large windmill. After Gehendra Shamsher's death in 1961, his son Leela Shamsher lived in this palace. A big fire in 1990 Bikram Sambat destroyed most of this building. The big gate seen in Jamal is the gate of Seto Durbar. This palace was spread over 375 ropani area. In 1942 Bikram Sambat, the then Prime Minister Veer Shamsher purchased at the rate of Rs 60 per ropani for 375 ropani land and large crystal vases and Italian marble tables, Belgian mirrors, 8 white crystal pillars 22 feet high and 12 feet round were installed in the meeting room. These goods brought from Europe were brought to Kathmandu by train from Sonpur in India and from Sonpur to Bhim Ferry by cars, buggies, elephants and from there by porters. Even foreign guests used to come to see this palace and after seeing it, they were surprised to see its decoration. After the death of Maharaj Veer Shamsher, the main palace passed to his eldest son, Gehendra Shamsher, and after his death or assassination, it came into the possession of his eldest son, Leela Shamsher. But after the marriage of King Tribhuvan's sister, Shahjadi, with his brother Sur Shamsher became the owner of Seto Durbar. Seto Durbar was born in the fire during his tenure. Tongal Durbar. In 1946 Bikram Sambat, Bir Shamsher had built Tongal Durbar for his brother Bhim Shamsher by architect Jogveer Sthapat. Bhim Shamsher stayed in this palace for about 40 years. After moving to Singha Durbar after becoming Prime Minister, he gave this palace to his son Ram Shamsher. After the death of Ram Shamsher in 2029 Bikram Sambat, it fell to his sons. Later, the son sold this palace. This palace, where the private campus is being operated, has been destroyed after the earthquake of 2072 Bikram Sambat and now has no existence. Setal Nivas. In 1980 Bikram Sambat, Chandra Shamsher built Setal Nivas for his son Krishna Shamsher. But in 2004 Bikram Sambat, after great pressure, Krishna Shamsher handed over to the Nepal government and went to live in Bangalore. After 2004 Bikram Sambat, this palace housed the Indian embassy for a few years, and now the Rashtrapati Bhawan has been built. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs was housed in this building for some time. Singha Durbar. Singha Durbar was built by Chandra Shamsher in 1960 Bikram Sambat. This palace was also designed by Kumar Narsingh Rana and Kishore Narsingh Rana. After the Singha Durbar was ready, Chandra Shamsher sold this palace to the government of Nepal for 2 crores and made it the Prime Minister's residence. Except for Padma Shamsher, all the Rana Prime Minister stayed in this palace during their tenure. Most of the palace was destroyed by fire in the year 2030 Bikram Sambat. Thapathali Palace. Thapathali Palace was yellow in color. Thapathali means the abode of the Thapas. This palace, built by Kazi Nain Singh Thapa of Bagale Thapa, but was taken by his daughter's son, Janga Bahadur Rana. Built in the north of the Bagmati River, the palace has gardens, buildings and temples. From the 1840s Bikram Sambat onward, various buildings were constructed till 1900 Bikram Sambat. Sri Durbar. Sri Durbar is a palace prepared by Prime Minister Chandra Shamsher in the year 1983 to 84 Bikram Sambat for his younger wife Bal Kumari Devi and son Madan Shamsher and Vishnu Shamsher. After the death of Chandra Shamsher in 1986 Bikram Sambat, Bal Kumari Devi went to live in Banaras. Vishnu Shamsher also left Nepal and reached London. After Madan Shamsher also died soon, Rani Jagdamba Kumari Devi, the wife of Chandra Shamsher's youngest son, Madan Shamsher Jabara, sold most of the palace and did donate remaining. Madan Shamsher's son, Gopal Shamsher, also went to live in Dehradun. Now, the descendants of Madan Shamsher are living in the main building of Sri Durbar, but most of the lands have been sold and the surrounding village is called Sri Durbar village. Currently, the Madan Puraskar Library is located in the Sri Durbar. Narayanhiti Palace. Chautarvia Fateh Jang Shah forcibly made the palace where Dhokal Singh Basniat's house was as his residence. After all the Chautarvia were wiped out during the Kot massacre, Janga Bahadur Rana built a palace for his brother Ranodip Singh. In 1934 Bikram Sambat, when Ranodip Singh was the Prime Minister, he took the oath in this palace and made it the Prime Minister's residence. On 1942 Bikram Sambat, Ranodip was killed inside the palace. After this, Bir Shamsher, who became the Prime Minister, built Narayanhiti Durbar with the help of Nepali architect Jogveer Sthapat and made arrangement for his son-in-law Prithviveer Vikram Saha to live here. Thus, this palace became the Palace of Saha Kings. Since there is a temple of Narayan in the palace complex and there is a hiti or stream, the name of this palace became Narayanhiti Durbar. The current form of Narayanhiti Palace was built by King Mahendra in 2020 Bikram Sambat. With the removal of the monarchy from the country, this palace has been converted into a museum. 4-Tower Palace or Char Burja Durbar. Bir Shamsher handed over the 4-Tower Palace built for himself to his son Rudra Shamsher. In 1990 Bikram Sambat, after Juddha Shamsher expelled Rudra Shamsher from Palpa, he gave this palace to his son Bahadur Shamsher. After it came to Bahadur Shamsher, this palace was named Bahadur Bhawan. The first state-of-the-art hotel of Nepal, Royal Hotel, was opened in this palace. After coming under the government of Nepal, this palace currently houses the Office of Election Commission. Bhatini Palace. In 1950 Bikram Sambat, Bir Shamsher had this palace built for his son Dharma Shamsher. After the death of Bir Shamsher in 1957 Bikram Sambat, Dharma Shamsher started living in this palace. After the death of Dharma Shamsher, all the properties were transferred to his adopted son Ekra Shamsher. After the palace was destroyed in the earthquake of 1990 Bikram Sambat, his descendants sold some parts of this land. A family of Ekra Shamsher has been living in the remaining part. Jolikal Palace. Jolikal Palace was built by Bir Shamsher in 1954 Bikram Sambat. After architect Jogveer Stapit prepared the palace in 1954 Bikram Sambat, Juddha Shamsher started living in this palace. After becoming the Prime Minister in 1989 Bikram Sambat, Juddha Shamsher moved to Singha Durbar. In 1990, after the Jolikal Palace was destroyed by an earthquake, it was repaired and given to his son Surya Shamsher. After the death of Surya Shamsher, this palace came under to his son Yuvraj Shamsher. After the democracy of 2007 Bikram Sambat, Yuvraj Shamsher opened club Rondo. This club became the most popular entertainment venue of that time. There used to be gambling, drinking, dancing and partying every day. Later, when the club began to incur losses, Yuvraj Shamsher sold this palace to the government of Nepal. There is a Nepal Administrative Training Institute on this palace which covers 72 ropenis of the land. Lazimpat Palace. Bir Kesar Pandey's palace was in the present-day Lazimpat, which was the old palace of the Pandeys. After Bir Kesar Pandey was killed on the Kot massacre of Bhadra 31, 1903 Bikram Sambat, Kazi Mama, that is Colonel Tri Vikram Singh Thapa, took this palace. In 1931 Bikram Sambat, when Kazi Mama was sent to Kasi by Janga Bahadur Rana, and his relatives stayed in this palace. Bir Shamsher, who came to power after the assassination of Ranadep Singh in 1942 Bikram Sambat, asked the architect Jogveer Stapit to build a palace for his brother Jeet Shamsher. After the palace was built, the name of this palace came to be Lazimpat Palace. After the childless Jeet Shamsher died in 1970 Bikram Sambat, this palace was given to Juddha Shamsher's son Agni Shamsher by Juddha Shamsher. After that, the name of this palace was Agni Bhawan. Former Queen Aishwarya, former Queen Komal and former Princess Preksha were born in this palace. In the year 2021 Bikram Sambat, businessman Ram Shankar Shrestha bought a part of Agni Bhawan and opened Shankar Hotel in it, while the Internal Revenue Office of the Government of Nepal is located in the other part. Thank you.